The morning was still, the kind of quiet that settles over Willow Creek Lane when the world hasn't yet decided to wake up. I was in my backyard, a mug of black coffee in hand, securing a small radio antenna to a pole I'd mounted near the shed. As a retired telecommunications engineer with decades spent rigging secure lines for government agencies, I wasn't chasing pirate radio signals or AM nostalgia. This antenna was my fail-safe way to tap into shortwave bands if the grid went dark. Cell towers fail. Internet cables snap. I'd seen it too many times in my career to trust the glossy promises of uninterrupted service from our local provider. The antenna was discreet, barely visible behind a cluster of azaleas, and took me less than an hour to install. I tested it, caught a clear signal from a weather station 2 states over, and shut it down, satisfied it would sit quiet until I needed it. By noon the next day, a crisp envelope was tucked into my mailbox, sealed with a green sticker bearing the emblem of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. I figured it was a reminder about recycling bins or mailbox paint. Instead, it was a typed letter, cold and formal, notice of noncompliance. The words unauthorized external structure and violation of community aesthetic standards were bolded, followed by a demand to remove the offending apparatus within 5 days or face fines of $75 daily. The signature at the bottom read Patricia Conway, HOA president. I'd crossed paths with Patricia Onsi, a woman in her early 50s, always in crisp blazers, her silver hair cropped sharp, carrying a leather-bound planner like it was a badge of office. She had the air of someone who thrived on order, the kind who'd never wired a circuit but loved telling you how to do it. Now, she'd set her sights on my antenna. I chuckled at first, the sheer pettiness of it. My house was on a corner lot, shielded by a row of cedars and a low stone wall. You'd need binoculars or a drone to spot the antenna from the street. But that afternoon, I noticed scuff marks in the dirt near my back gate, right where the view of the shed was clearest. Patricia, or someone she'd sent, had been on my property. The HOA bylaws forbade unsanctioned inspections, but rules only seemed to apply when they served her. By evening, whispers were spreading. A post on the neighborhood's online forum claimed my antenna was emitting hazardous frequencies and disrupting local Wi-Fi. The source was anonymous, but the tone screamed Patricia. The next morning, she stood at my front gate, clipboard in hand, her blazer buttoned like armor. I stepped outside before she could knock. "Mr. Ellis," she said, voice clipped, "this is your formal notice. The antenna violates Section 5, Article 12 of our covenant. Remove it." I leaned against the porch rail. "Patricia, federal law protects radio antennas under the FCC's PRB 1 rules. Your covenant doesn't override that." Her eyes narrowed, unprepared for pushback. "This community values uniformity," she said. "Your device is a visual blight. Only if you're trespassing to see it," I replied. She stiffened, turned on her heel, and marched back to her black sedan, her planner clutched like a weapon. That night, over a glass of scotch, I dug out the HOA handbook. It was a fossil, written when dial-up was cutting edge, with no mention of radio systems or modern telecom. Patricia was fighting a battle she didn't understand. But she didn't relent. 2 days later, a second notice arrived, this time with blurry photos of my antenna, clearly shot from my property line. One image showed a faint reflection of a green scarf in the shed's window, Patricia's signature accessory. She was escalating, and so was the neighborhood's paranoia. A new forum post warned of electromagnetic interference, endangering pacemakers and garage door openers. Someone taped a flyer to my mailbox about radio wave health risks. Patricia was turning me into the block's bogeyman. By Friday, she'd upped the ante with a laminated sign on the community board, "Antennas and Our Shared Values," featuring a zoomed-in shot of my shed, the antenna circled in red like a target. Neighbors started dodging me. The Thompsons, who used to chat over the fence, now hurried past. "Mrs. Larson muttered about illegal broadcasts." Patricia even parked her sedan across the street, filming my house with her phone like a private eye. When I waved, she sped off. I'd had enough. I pulled out my old files, blueprints, permits, and a 2013 contract with the original HOA board. Back then, Willow Creek was a new development with no reliable internet. The developer's high-speed promise was a lie, and the HOA begged me to step in. I'd built their Wi-Fi backbone relay hub in my shed, tied to a private radio uplink for redundancy. I ran cables to every home, free of charge, because I believed in connection, not control. They'd never replaced it, never acknowledged it, but it was still there, humming quietly, keeping their video calls and smart fridges online. Patricia had forgotten or never known who held the keys. On Monday, at 5:30 a.m., I sat at my desk, the glow of my secure laptop lighting the room. The admin panel showed the network I'd built. Node 1, active. Uplink 1, stable. Uplink 2, standby. The antenna she hated was the backup, tested during a 2015 blackout when the main line fried. No one noticed because I'd made it seamless. Now, it was time to wake them up. I clicked the master toggle. Uplink 1, disabled. Fallback timeout, 0:03. The system went dormant. By 5:45, the forum lit up. A nurse named Rachel couldn't access her hospital portal. By 6 o'clock, the community center's security cameras went offline. By 6:20, Patricia's sedan screeched into my driveway. She banged on my door, shouting, "Nathan, you're endangering this community." I stayed inside, watching her pace, her scarf flapping like a flag of surrender. The forum erupted. Who's managing the network? Why's everything down? Patricia posted, "Nathan Ellis is tampering with critical infrastructure. We're addressing this." I emailed her a copy of the 2013 contract, granting me full control over the system I'd built. No response. By 7 o'clock, neighbors were at the community board, yelling about missed deadlines and kids' online classes. My neighbor Derek, a software developer, knocked on my door with a grin and a thermos of coffee. "You cut the cord, didn't you?" he asked. "Just showing them what they took for granted," I said. He nodded. "Patricia's threatening to sue. She thinks she can reclaim your hub." I laughed. "Good luck." That afternoon, a city official, Officer Mendoza, showed up, citing a complaint about unlicensed radio operations. I handed him my permits and the county's 2013 letter thanking me for exceptional community service. He skimmed them, then chuckled. "You're cleaner than a whistle. She's been flooding our office with complaints." He leaned in. "Off the record, you're not the first she's targeted. Keep fighting." By evening, a petition to remove Patricia as HOA president had 25 signatures. By morning, it had 55. The network stayed down. Smart lights flickered. Doorbells failed. Patricia's flyers, now begging for calm, were trashed. At the HOA meeting that night, I stood. "I'm Nathan Ellis. I built your internet in 2013 because the developer failed you. The antenna you're attacking is protected by federal law. Patricia's crusade is illegal." The room buzzed. Neighbors searched PRB, one rules. Patricia fled, her planner left behind. The next day, she was outvoted out, 68-7. Her house listed for sale that week. I restored partial signal, enough for emergencies, but not Netflix. Then I wrote a letter to every home, detailing my work and Patricia's overreach. It spread online as the man who kept us connected. Neighbors brought casseroles, apologies, questions. The new board, open and honest, asked me to lead a tech committee. I said yes, but only if it was collaborative. Patricia stopped by days later, scarf gone, voice soft. "Nathan, I didn't know what you'd done for us." I shrugged. "You never cared to find out." She apologized, admitting she'd let power blind her. She moved out soon after, her sedan replaced by a moving van. Willow Creek changed. Birdhouses reappeared. Flags flew. The community board brimmed with potluck invites, not threats. A kid named Mia showed me her homemade radio, beaming as we caught a signal. The new HOA newsletter quoted me. "Connection isn't control. It's trust, built one signal at a time." They approved my antenna, but it was irrelevant. I'd already won not with noise, but with truth. I tweaked the antenna one last time for me. As I tightened the bolts, I looked over the lane, kids biking, neighbors waving, sprinklers humming. The air was free, and so was I.